Most jewelry brands don't even make it past a year. Why is that? Because the product may be nice, the quality may be good, but the foundation is pretty weak. In today's video, I'm going to break down 5 brutal mistakes that kill a jewelry brand even before they get started. If you are a jewelry enthusiast or if you are interested in opening a jewelry business, these 5 lessons will save you years of hard work. For those who don't know me, my name is Sohail Shakil and I own a jewelry brand called Amirah Gems and Fine Jewellery located in Sri Lanka, the home of sapphires, and I've been in this industry for the past 13 years, helping, educating young jewelers, also running an established brand while taking top custom made orders and sourcing the best of sapphires for them. If you are new into the channel, please subscribe so I can help you in your jewelry journey. So the mistake number 1 most people make as a jewelry brand is no clear brand identity or story. Just think about it in general. You along with so many other jewelers in the industry, right? So you are not alone who's competing in this industry. There are so many jewelers, small jewelers, big jewelers, medium scale jewelers, and especially if you're new, why would anybody trust you to come and purchase from you, right? So in the start, the first thing you need to do is develop a nice brand story and an identity where someone can resonate with you. Now there are a couple of ways that you could do this. Ideally, you need to have a clear strategy on the colors you're going to use, the brand identity you're going to build, what kind of content you're going to produce, and what kind of products you're going to shoot. This becomes very easy in the start if you can specify yourself into a specific niche. Right? When you take jewelry, you can break it down into so many components. Either you're going to do gold jewelry, either you're going to do engagement jewelry, either you're going to do silver and very minimal jewelry, either you're going to do sapphire oriented jewelry. So there are so many branches that you can actually venture out when you're starting to do jewelry. But for starters, as a brand, I think the best thing you could do is pick one thing you're going to do, right? So either you're going to stick to silver oriented jewelry, which is a cheap alternative and a price pointed alternative where you can actually sell decent amount of numbers. Or if your experience is more on doing engagement and diamond oriented jewelry, then you stick to that. Based on that, whatever you select on, based on that, cultivate a brand identity that suits your driven purpose. Now for example, if I was going to start an entire jewelry business and if I selected to do only engagement rings or diamond rings or wedding bands, and if that was my specialty as a jeweler in the start, I would make content around educating customers on diamonds, engagement styles, engagement bands, the varieties of diamonds that come in, what is a diamond and how a diamond can help you, what price point should you be investing on diamond. These are the types of content that I will make, and I will make my brand identity and my brand story very clear with a very clear cut message saying that, hey, if you want to make an engagement ring, this is where I can help you, this is where my specialty is, this is where my marketing revolves around, and I've been collecting a lot of customer feedback to prove it to you that I can help you curate a nice engagement ring, and I can back that up with the amount of education I'm doing, right? So on the start, be very clear with what your brand identity is. For example, if you are planning to do a bit more mass scale and you would want to do something like a small boutique with silver jewelry, right? Then your entire marketing plan should be focused on price point, gifting, affordability, great quality at a very good price, and the availability of options. So your entire brand story and image should fit into that kind of category, right? For example, if you are doing silver kind of jewelry, then you have to do a lot of photo shoots, a lot of instant reels that just quickly show the product and the price, and here you can gift it, right? So you basically take a product, you show the product, you say this is at this price, this is at silver, and it's priced at $35, right? Do you want to gift it? Here's our website link. You are creating a marketing strategy based on the niche you select for your brand identity, right? So first thing you really need to understand is if you are struggling to grow your brand or if you are stuck, identify the niche you really want to go for. As your business increases, you can definitely add different parts of the business into your entire concept. For example, when I started Amirah, as a personal note, I was a custom made jeweler before I launched my fully fledged jewelry brand, right? So I focused myself on pushing on custom made orders where I would do engagement rings, wedding bands, sapphire oriented rings, wedding necklaces. So this was my core. As the business grew, I was able to introduce another 30-40 pieces in silver for more affordability. Then I was building a channel for custom made, and then I would do a photo shoot and a video shoot and quick instant reels, selling reels, not marketing, just definitely more on selling oriented. This is the product, this is the price, it's available, go to the website, pick it up, affordable, it will be delivered to you in 3 days. So that kind of narrative. And then you add those two together. So now you have something that you're selling more premium on custom make, and you have something that's giving you regular cash flow on silver. So the step one is understand your brand identity and what's your story. To that, you can always add a bit more. Your logo, your color, your aesthetic. These kind of decisions need to be taken early on, and you can obviously improve on them, but do not change them drastically, right? So it's also a bit of learning experience. For example, if you made a logo today and you have used pink fonts, pastel fonts, and a nice white background, then keep your entire channel aesthetic on pink, white, and pastel backgrounds, right? So your Instagram post should have pink somewhere, or a pastel color. Your background of your prop shoots should have a pink or a pastel color, right? Your products packaging should have a pink color, right? So you keep these aesthetics very consistent throughout your journey. Do not skip and jump on these things, but improve it as time goes, right? If you have a nice packaging and if you can improve a bit more, say you have, and your paper quality, say you have a bag or a packaging material where you can improve the paper quality, yes, that's plus 10%. If you can get better font, or if you can get better GSM material on your quality, that's another way to look at it. Okay, that's another 5-10%. If you're not happy with the thread of your bag, you can improve that. Yes, you are improving quality. So keep your aesthetic same, but find for loops that how can you make this 5-10% better every 3-4 months, right? So you have to first pick your niche within the industry, like this is what I'm really going to push for. Then you stick to that. Then you add your elements of the brand, colors, aesthetic, page, logos, your key takeaway message, your CTAs, and then how you're going to drive customers back to your website. So all these small things, finalize it at one point, sit and make a plan that, okay, these are things that are missing in my entire brand identity. We are going to fix these. We are going to be solid with these, and then we are going to improve on these over time. So that would be point number one, getting into a proper brand identity and developing your story throughout the journey. This will really instill the roots early on in your jewelry career. Once you have proper roots, it's easier to push for better audiences. Mistake number two, why brands usually don't succeed, is because of poor designs. Okay, this is a no-brainer, guys. If someone is coming through your website and coming to your stores and actually not purchasing, a big part of the problem is because your designs are poor, right? Now, especially if you enter the industry newly, you need to keep a channel where you are very updated with trending designs and styles, which is very appealing to the audience. Now, when you do designing, you can break it into certain segments, right? So first is what kind of customer base is actually approaching you. Is this the young audience? Is the age crowd between 18 to 30, or is it 35 and above, or is it 45 and above? Depending on these kind of elements, the designing factor definitely changes. But there are some classic designs, like for example, simple diamond solitaire engagement rings, or diamond bands, or diamond earrings. Simple diamond designs is something which you call classic in the industry, which always sells. But how you position yourself and how you develop your brand, based on that, you need to cater to the audience with those kind of designs, right? For example, if you're doing between 18 to 30 and that's your major audience that you're selling, and if you're having a silver oriented boutique, then you should focus on designs which are very Instagram oriented, which are very TikTok oriented, and which you always see in Pinterest. The designs that are always on the face of the customer is what is appealing for them. More often than not, the problem is, though they see those designs on Instagram and TikTok, they have no avenue or place to buy those, right? So that is the gap that you need to cater. One action point that you can actually take on this is, if you are an owner of a jewelry brand, you need to open a separate Instagram page, a separate TikTok page, which is a personal page for you, and you only follow jewelry related accounts and brands on those profiles. What this does is it pushes the algorithm in those apps to continuously keep feeding jewelry to you. So then what you need to do is, once you have those profiles set up, spend a couple of minutes every day on those platforms and those pages, so that you keep feeding what these new designs are always, which is on trend, right? Then you need to take those designs and then go to your craftsman and be like, hey, can you make these for me, right? Because this is what is going to sell. As long as your designs are good, you will always see movement, provided that your quality is good. But more often than not, when you are making jewelry, if the designs are poor, then it's going to affect the sales for sure. However, though you copy designs from the internet which are standard, you can always add a little bit of intuitive thoughts and make it your original as well. This is where jewelry is special, right? So you take an inspiration and then you do a little bit of change to add your originality into it. This is how the industry has been running for years. Just think about it in general. The moment Van Cleef drops something, people take that as aspiration and then they make so many variations of around it in the mass market, right? So you take the inspiration and then you see what you can do separate, or you steal that idea and you make concepts of designs around that one particular famous model that a top brand has dropped, right? So this will always appeal the customers because they already like it, but they're getting a different version which is a little bit unique. So your designing needs to be on top of the game if you want to be a successful jewelry brand or a designer, right? So that is one way of looking at designing and how you can actually develop designs. So you keep a funnel where you have one segment like through trending profiles on Instagram and TikTok where you keep feeding trending designs, and then you always keep a classic line such as a diamond line, or say if you're doing it in silver, you keep silver and zirconia version of the original diamond designs. These will definitely add more elements in your selling capacity because you have trending designs and what people actually need. Another entire area of designing actually is also, it depends on where you are locationally based, right? For example, your local market or the audience you're selling will have different preferences, different styles. For example, the Chinese and the Asian market have a very different oriented designs that they like. They like jade oriented, they like gold oriented, they like Chinese calligraphy oriented jewelry. Whereas if you take the Indian market, it's very heavy. South Indian jewelry is way too heavy and it's more gold, it's 22 karat oriented. But if you take markets like US and Europe, they like sapphire oriented jewelry, very minimal 18K white gold. So depending on your geographical location, this also is going to play a big part. So understand your market, see where you're located, see what kind of customer base you're dealing with, what kind of age category you're dealing with, and what kind of market are you dealing with. Based on that, provide designs that actually suit the market. So designing is one and the market is other. You need to combine these two factors in order for you to have a successful channel that people come and buy. Just out of experience, after so many years of doing jewelry, what I've understood is if you give customers the designs they like, obviously the sales are going to keep coming, right? So just be focused on that part as well, on designing. If your designs are poor, if your designs are outdated, if your styles are still in the 80s and 90s, you are not going to do sales. Today is all about trendy, minimal, classic, cute, and minimalist jewelry is what really moves in today's age and category, right? If you think about it, do you like a piece that your grandmother was wearing? Obviously not. What do? You take those pieces, you melt it, and you make pieces that you like. That's what my wife does too. Like, she has got so much of heritage jewelry, and then she comes to me and she's like, can I melt these? Can I make designs that I actually like, that I'll be actually using and wearing? So that's a narrative shift. From generation to generation, the taste changes. As long as you are catering to that, yes, you are on the right path of success. But if your designs are old, right, and sometimes it also boils down to the craftsmen you're working with and the factories you're working with. If they are not updated on designs and their mentality hasn't changed, they're always going to come with old concepts. That's not going to work. So one thing you really need to improve is good designs. And that will be the mistake number 2 that you really need to avoid in terms of not killing your jewelry brand. Mistake number 3, poor quality and cheap material. This is a no-brainer, right? The reason most of the jewelry brands don't succeed is because they don't understand quality in order to provide quality, right? So if you want to make good quality products in jewelry, you need to educate yourself primarily on how to get good quality output. The best way for you to do this is visiting workshops, sitting with craftsmen, understanding quality, grading diamonds, grading sapphires, understand how setting happens, the type of settings, what makes a stone fall out, what makes a chain break, and so many other elements that combinedly produce good quality output. How does plating work, for example? What kind of micron do platings have? There is first grade plating, second grade plating, then settings. How long does the prong need to be? How many prongs should I use for this design? Then you can consider polishing. What is the process that the factory takes in order to polish these products? Does it go through the stages of first polishing, second polishing, final polishing? How many rounds of polishing is it going? How does the QC happen? You need to educate yourself by spending a lot of time seeing your products, seeing the weaknesses in your products, and then how you can improve these weaknesses. You also need to collect a lot of customer data and feedback in the start where you can improve on your quality. If your quality is poor, then the result is going to be the moment you sell, a couple of days later the customer is going to bring it for repair, and eventually you're going to lose that customer. So in order for you to generally build good quality, you need to surround yourself with people in the industry who actually understand quality and who can give you good feedback. Hey, is this piece nice or is this piece not nice, right? So in this particular segment of poor quality, the way you can grow as a brand is by investing on resources that will teach you what good quality is. Primarily you yourself as an owner, your team. Send them to workshops, send them to spend time with craftsmen, send them to factories so that they can gather information as much as possible in order to have better quality products. Right now it also depends on where you're making your jewelry in order to get better quality, right? If your craftsmen are not using the latest equipment, if they don't have the proper channels of doing setting, if they just have a small home setup, right, they are limited with resources to give you better quality. Just to give you a very clear-cut example, we have one craftsman who works from home, and then we have one factory that is fully set up, right? So they have the latest laser machines, they have the latest soldering machines, they have the latest loops, they have the latest 10x, the 30x, the casting machines, and they have like 35-40 people working. If I compare the product that is given to me by the craftsman who's working at home versus the factory that is giving me the same product, obviously the factory that is giving me the best product, the same product is going to have much leverage and better quality because they have all the equipment in order to give that kind of quality, right? Whereas the guy who's doing it at home, he doesn't have anything. He just has one setup and not a proper machine where he has like a 30x so that he can sit and set stones individually. Also his skill is very limited. He might be good at hand making the piece but not polishing the piece, right? So you understand why quality gets impacted and affected. So you need to get in channels where people can give you better quality products in your backend when you are actually manufacturing your jewelry for the brand. Now sometimes it might be little hard because most of these factories might have MOQs, right, minimum order quantities, in order for you to start working with them. But saying that, there's always a little bit of negotiation skill, and you also find small factories, not really big ones, that can provide you 10, 15, 20 pieces every month, right? So it's up to you on how much effort you can put on getting better quality products for output. This is very essential. It's also a process which you learn while you're doing the trade, but always keep strict standards in quality. Do not be scared to reject products from the factory or from your workshop or your craftsman if the quality is not good. Do not be complacent on this, right? What jewelry brands usually do is, just in order to start the business, though they don't have the perfect eye for it, they can feel it within themselves, man, that this piece is actually not that pretty, it's not what I really want. But somehow or the other they try to sell it to the customer, which is a wrong approach altogether. You rather tell your customer, hey, look, the product is out and it's ready, but I am not satisfied with the quality that it has come out, so I cannot give you this. Let me rectify, let me make it perfect and then give it to you. This way you're going to build a much more genuine relationship with the customer while maintaining your standards. In this industry, if you do not maintain standards and if you don't maintain good quality, you will never get a customer back, right? It is utmost crucial that you do not compromise in quality. It might take a little longer, but it's 100% worth it if you think about it in the long term. And the other part is cheap material, right? So be very careful on what kind of material you actually use when you make jewelry. Though people say silver, there's a lot of mixing that happens. Though people say gold, there's a lot of mixing that happens. So whoever is making for you, he needs to use the right composition in silver and the right composition in gold in order for your jewelry to be thorough in its material, right? So if you're saying 18 karat, it needs to be 18 karat, not 17 karat. So if customers find that you are having loopholes like that, then they won't trust you, right? So you need to be very sure with the person who's making for you that he is giving you the right material and not cheap, right? Also the make, sometimes the make is also very poor, so you need to understand on that also. How solid is the ring? What kind of diameter are we using? What kind of millimeter is the band? If the jewelry looks flimsy and cheap, it's bound to break. If the jewelry looks solid and good, it's bound to last, right? So this is just a simple mentality you need to understand. If the final look is crappy, then the customer is not going to like it. If the final look is nice, if the ending is nice, if the finished product is sparkling, yes, there you go, right? So understand quality and invest on learning better quality and surround yourself with people who can actually teach you good quality. So this would be mistake number 3 that you absolutely need to avoid. Mistake number 4 that is actually killing your jewelry brand. You are poor at managing your cash flow and are not updated pricing, right? So your pricing is poor and your cash flow is extremely poor. That's exactly why most of these jewelry businesses run out, because they are unable to sell because they don't price it right and they don't manage their cash right. If you are new and if you are starting in this industry, be very sure that you keep your overheads at very minimal, right? So you can always start a team by yourself, and then you can have one more person assisting you if you are new in this industry, right? You don't need too many people. Almost everything in this industry can be outsourced, right? From your packaging, from your manufacturing, from your sourcing of stones and supply of stones, from your selling channels such as websites and Instagram, TikTok shop, right? So many avenues that you really don't need to spend money on in the start. But it becomes extremely crucial that how you manage your initial investment and cash flow and how you price your goods. For understanding, you need to price in a way that, for example, how you can do it. If your product costs you $100, right? For example, if your cost value is $100, you need to add 15-20% markup to it as your running cost, right? On that, so if you add 20% to $100, it becomes $120. $120 plus a minimal margin which suits your geographical location. You don't need to overprice it, because if you overprice it in the start and people do not trust you as a jewelry company, you will find it really hard to sell your products. So it should be in a position where you're not supremely overcharging and you're not underpricing it either. So you're covering your costs, plus you make a small decent amount so that you can reinvest back into the business, and eventually after the entire year you see if you can make a 30-40% profit net on your total business. I would say that's a very good starting point if you are new, right? So you need to understand how do you manage your cash flow and how do you do your pricing. So that would be one way to look at it. And also you need to mix and match a bit of product category. On some items that you can actually score and some items you won't be able to score as much. For example, now if you take gold products, customers are aware of costings, right? They will ask you for breakdowns, like how much gold does this have, how much diamonds does this have, and then they have a general idea of wastage and they have a general idea of labor. So the remaining markup you actually keep from that is for your effort and the brand loyalty and the brand presence which the customer is willing to pay for. But this process is a time-taking process. It only develops as your brand grows, that you can keep a bit more extra margin on your entire pricing so that people are okay to pay for that brand, right? So as your brand becomes more stronger and more strength oriented, you can slowly keep increasing your pricing. But in the start itself, if you try to keep like very huge markups, then obviously you're not going to sell because nobody trusts you yet. So if you are a jewelry brand who's new, right, and you want to survive in this market, your absolute objective needs to be, how do I sell my product? Because you need to sell in order for you to survive and reinvest and make new products, and also cover your expenses of making the jewelry, the cost itself, and marketing, and whatever the little bit of extra cost such as packaging is, right? So in that sense, what you really need to understand is that how do I not overprice it? How do I keep it at its fair price? And how do I manage my cash flow? But when you talk about certain products that you can score, for example, you might find scoring gaps on if you are sourcing a sapphire for someone. Right? If you are sourcing a sapphire, yes, in that you can keep a bit more additional margin than you could keep in the gold piece itself, right? So price your jewelry separately, price your sourcing materials such as sapphires, diamonds separately. So for example, if you are making a ring and you have to source diamonds for that ring, you take the diamond at X value, keep a small markup on that, and then that That small markup you keep is your profit on your diamond. You keep a small markup on the gold pricing itself. So you keep a small profit on this, and then you keep a small profit on the diamond, and then you keep a separate small profit on the sapphire. So you have to find 3-4 avenues within that one product you're creating on how I can make small margins on each of these components. That is the way you're going to score, and that way you will be making profits, and you're giving your customer a fair price, right? So you're not going to overcharge your customer, because your entire mentality is not to score into 4 into 5 like top retail stores who do jewelry business. They are there because they have spent years investing, making customers and building their brand value and their face value that customers are okay to pay. It also comes with that kind of credibility. So it's utmost important that you make a system where you cover a cost a little bit more than your cost. You give your products, you take the money, you reinvest, and you keep your overheads very low, right? Outsource, and in general you just need the art of becoming a better businessman. That is what is going to separate you from the pack, right? So if you can make a better deal with someone who's going to make your website, you save. If you're going to make a better deal and negotiating buying stones cheaper, you're going to win. If you're going to get a better deal on negotiating your cost of production and your labor cost, you're going to win. If you can find more cheaper suppliers who give you better output, you're going to win. So this is just general business skill within yourself that you need to keep developing as you develop this business. So it goes hand in hand. Learn to win deals. The more you learn to win deals is what's going to give you net result in your business success. So point number 4 was very simple: pricing and cash flow. Understand this and avoid these mistakes in it. So whenever you feel like you're spending over your limit, which you're going to find it hard to cover, cut cost, give a small discount, sell a product, get the cash. Mistake number 5, that is killing your brand: not providing enough trust value, right? What do I mean by trust value? Trust value is something. Why would someone trust you over someone else to come and spend money and buy a luxury item or buy a piece of jewelry where they know the price is high, right? How do you do this? The best way for you to gain trust amongst your industry is depending on how and where you start. Now, if you are new in the industry and you want to start, you should be starting with people in your inner circle, your friends, your family, your extended family, your colleagues. This is where you can actually start making some kind of reference collection method, so that people give you reviews and the word of mouth starts spreading. This is primary source. Once you have these, once you have a bit of collection, or you have 30-40 pieces that you're planning to sell, now you made a collection or you are planning to take more custom made orders, collect reviews, right? Video reviews, customers coming and talking on the video and saying how good your service was, or Google reviews. Setting up a Google profile is absolutely necessary. Set up a Google profile and get a QR code. You can get this for about $10 a month on so many sites that give. Get those QR codes, get reviews from customers, build a channel for 100% reviews, and you collect them. Once you have these reviews, you post them on your socials, you post them on your Instagram, you open TikTok, you do a green screen and say how your experience went with this entire customer. You show the picture of the product and the customer, show their smiling faces. Build absolute a truck method that you can multiply reviews every single time. Take 3 reviews from a customer. Same customer, you can take 3 reviews. How was the service? How was the product? How was your entire experience? Right? 3 different versions. You can use them into like 10-second, 15-second clips and make it 3 pieces of content. Post. Keep a channel where you are combining all the elements perfectly so that customer builds a trust. So you show your scenes, you show the work that happens in your company, you show the packaging, you show the product, you show the customer review, you have a customer talking, and then you have your brand aesthetic on right. You show your presence, online presence, you keep it very active, right? You come and talk, you come and do marketing. You need to keep pushing out elements to customers saying that, hey, look, we are an active, established, hardworking company who offer value for the product that we give along with a top service, and you can absolutely trust us. Here are the reviews of people who actually work with us. If you build that kind of review mechanism from day one, every order you do, you collect a review, right? So for example, if you do like 50-60 sales a month, that's 50-60 reviews. Over a year, that's 50-60 multiplied into 12. So that's about more than 600 reviews, right? If you are doing 10, that's still 120 reviews a year. Compounds. After 3-4 years, when you have 400-500 reviews, you will be an absolute beast in terms of trust. But it also, another entire factor that actually determines how people can trust you is how much work are you actually doing, right? If you are putting effort on making new designs and showing it to customers all the time, and if you're pushing it, if you're sending them WhatsApp messages, if these are going up on your Instagram, if they are going on personal broadcast lists, if you're doing email marketing, the more you work and more people see you working on this subject, they will naturally build a trust. They know that, okay, company exists, this is their physical location, or this is their website, this is their marketing team, I can contact them anytime I want, they are continuously providing value, they are educating me on the subject, they are showing their customers feedback, and they are showing all the reviews they are collecting. It genuinely builds a connection with the customer, right? Especially in terms of jewelry, because the product is directly associated with trust. Like, it's not an electronic item like you have, for example, a car, and people know what that car is. If the people know what that car is, they can go and buy from any dealer they want. They don't really need you. But in terms of jewelry, they cannot trust because there is no specific brand like a Toyota or a Jaguar or a Mercedes. Like, people know what Mercedes is. But in terms of jewelry, if they're coming to buy from me, they will be coming to buy from Amirah. But why should I trust Amirah? I can buy the same thing from someone else, right? The product is common. Gold is common, diamonds are common, sapphires are common. So only way they would trust you is because of your personality as a brand, and the amount of work you do, and the amount of consistency you've been showing, and the reviews you are collecting in general. So it becomes absolutely necessary to show everything that your company does, right? In today's generation and world, it's very outdated if you just take pictures and put it on Instagram. You need to show absolutely everything so that someone can trust you. So that includes your stories, your posts, your behind the scenes, your YouTubes, your TikToks, interaction with your staff, your customers, your customer reviews, casual meetings, what's happening with the team, or when the new products are coming. You tell a story about an incident, share a customer experience. All of this combined will give you a punch value, so that the customer is not afraid to come and purchase from you. He knows that, okay, I can trust him. If something goes wrong, there is a team that will solve it for me. So whenever you're building the brand from day one, absolutely keep it important to collect reviews and show everything so that customers can build that trust over time. Now, this doesn't happen instantly. You need to be grinding and showing the amount of work you are doing for your trust factor to be associated and improved. Now, if you're a custom-made jeweler, the single person who's just taking custom-made orders and trying to really grow on that kind of approach, it's actually possible too, right? That way, word of mouth is going to be the best method, and you showing the process, you showing the craftsman, you showing the workshop, you showing the sourcing of the diamond, you showing how the entire ring came out, how it looked, showing the sketches, showing the CAD drawings. So all of these elements collected together will increase trust. So these were the 5 mistakes that you really need to avoid if you are starting a jewelry brand, and if you are not focusing on these 5 points, it's actually killing your brand before you realize it. Get into the mentality of collecting all these points and putting into one. And I'm sure if you have taken some value from this video and if you can imply it on your business, it's going to be a massive boost. If you found the content enjoyable, subscribe, like, and share it with a friend. You can always join my channel. I'll be doing a lot of vlogs and educating videos such as these, so that it provides some value to someone who's interested in this jewelry business. See you again next time on another video. Till then, cheers, take care, don't forget to subscribe.